Now, President William Ruto kickstarted the process of setting in motion the framework within which his call for a bipartisan approach to the issues raised by the opposition would be addressed. The president, who held a meeting with the parliamentary House leadership from the majority side, implored the leaders to meet with their minority counterparts and, as a matter of priority, begin considering the issues at hand, led by the reconstitution of the polls body IEBC. And as Chemutai Goi now reports, the majority leader in the National Assembly, Kimani Ichung'wah, stated that they were ready to put their heads together and work with the opposition, appearing to cast a dark cloud on the future of the selection panel that was already in the process of narrowing down the list of those who applied for the position of chairperson and commissioners.
After reason prevailed and President William Ruto and Azimio leader Raila Odinga softened their stances on issues that had seen the country witness destruction, death and massive disruptions for 2 weeks following the mass protests. And today, the spirit continued. With a 1-week ultimatum from Odinga, President William Ruto set in motion the plan to set up the bipartisan parliamentary process to address emerging issues, key among them the reconstitution of the polls body IEBC. The president met House leaders from both the National Assembly and the Senate drawn from the majority side, where he urged them to prioritize the formation of the bipartisan team. Majority leader in the National Assembly, Kimani Ichung'wah, stating that they are ready to hit the road running.
We have agreed on how we work towards establishing a framework that you see realize the consideration of the proposal and the counter proposals that will come from the opposition. And I've had a brief engagement with the leader of minority in the National Assembly, and he has indicated that they're also in consultations with their party leadership. They are still caucusing, and as soon as they are done, we should then embark on the formal engagement now to begin work.
Ichung'wah saying they have settled on the format the bipartisan team will adopt, however indicating that it would likely be an ad hoc committee whose composition will be decided by members of parliament in consultation with the party leaders.
It will be up to the committee to decide how do we address issue number 1, how do we address issue number 2. But I think the most important thing is what I did hear the president say, that we must all act in line with the constitution and the laws that are there.
And just like the president, the Kenya Kwanza leader clarified that the bipartisan approach was not an indication of a, quote, handshake.
I can confirm the president has not even met with Raila Odinga. He has not even spoken to Raila Odinga, leave alone meeting, leave alone a handshake. Therefore, there is nothing touching on a handshake. The bipartisan approach is an approach that looks at the interest of the country over and above the partisan interest.
Ruto's action to cede ground on the reconstitution of IEBC leaves the selection panel in a limbo. The panel had last week announced the completion of the long listing of applicants for chair and commissioners, 25 Kenyans seeking to replace Wafula Chebukati, while 895 others are eyeing the 6 vacant commissioner positions.
As at when we agree on what route to take, when, as I said, we engage formally, it will definitely have an implication on the workings of the selection panel. But I think the panel is working outside on its own, not under the guidance of the parliamentary leadership. And when that time comes, if whatever will be agreed on will affect their work, then it's something that they would be engaged with formally also. It
is likely the panel may be forced to suspend the recruitment exercise to pave way for the bipartisan process. As Kenyans celebrate the lull occasioned by the suspended protests, United States Ambassador to Kenya Meg Whitman welcomed the commitment of Ruto and Odinga to dialogue. Similar sentiments shared by the majority leader, who had often sharply criticized Odinga.
It is also quite magnanimous for the opposition to have taken up that call and responded to it almost immediately. and I want to believe they also did this in the interest of the country. I am sure they have also seen where these demonstrations were going was not in the interest of the greater good of the country.
The spotlight now shifts to Parliament, and when the process of constituting the bipartisan ad hoc committee will commence, who will be the members, and if in the end the process will bear edible fruits? Chamutai Goin, Citizen TV.